Hello again. Well, we're back for the final stretch. Here, let me get this camera. Back to the final stretch here. This isn't working. There we go. So we have our plane. Whoop. We have our plane. We have our servos set up. Reamed the holes in the servo arms. I've got one control rod made. I'm going to make the second control rod here out of my little piece of survey wire. Z-bend tool handy. One thing I don't like right now, I'm going to just disconnect this control rod for a second. That over there. One thing I don't like these markings that didn't quite work out on the elevons. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these elevons all purple, both sides, not just the one side. So the next step is going to be take my horns out. Whoa! Here, how about instead of you guys looking at my face, I mount the camera again back in its spot. Get down at the table. How's that? Now I noticed reviewing some of the other video that it didn't look like I was getting the entire area that I wanted back in here where I do most of my work. It looked like I was getting that side of the table, so I've pushed the table a little bit forward. I'm hoping that'll be enough so we can get it, and I'll try my best to do my work a little bit forward here as well. So basically, I would have left the top of these orange. The orange tape doesn't cover very well, so I'm kind of stuck here. No! When that happens? Okay. I'm stuck here changing the color of my elevons because I don't want that tape to show up through, or those markings to show up through. So that looks nice. How's that? Okay. Just gonna put that off there, and I will do the other one first, and then I'll turn it over and cut them both off. So this, let's just try and. So next time I do a build video, I'm going to try and do a couple things a tiny bit better. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to have slightly better lighting down here. The other thing, I reviewed some of the footage from the other two cameras, and I found that most of what is usable here is from the camera above, the Mobius. These two, the angles that they're on, these other two cameras aren't great, so I probably won't end up using that footage very much, other than when you can't see what I'm talking about from the Mobius. And my contour that I'm using, I've got the waterproof case on it because the waterproof case is what gives it a nice tripod mount, but the video comes out a little bit blurry from that. It's nice if you're underwater. It's not so great if you're sitting in a basement building a plane. So next time I do a video, I'm going to find a different solution for that one. Maybe I'll use that one as just a hand camera that I can rotate around at what I want to look at and just pick and choose. I do love the Mobius up above here though. If it's pointing in the right direction, it's got a nice clear picture. You can see what I'm doing. So how is that? Not bad. Now, I think I'm just going to curl the edge up here. And of course, I've gotten some foam on. Just going to make that not stick. See if I can get that piece of foam off. So I got two choices. I can either cut that off or curl the edge. I just changed my mind. I'm going to cut it. I don't think the curl's not going to come up far enough, and it's just going to make noise. If I have an onboard camera, and even if I don't have an onboard camera, it's going to create a little bit of drag as it flaps around in the wind. This side isn't quite as bad, but just trim it a little bit here. I got some foam with that one. Okay, nice. So flip it back around. Now the top of my ailerons are purple. Like I said before, this isn't what I wanted, but right now I'm just reopening the same holes as before. Make sure I can fit these guys through, and then I'm going to glue these on. Yep. Okay. That was Stacy telling me that she's putting some lunch on, which sounds delicious. Okay, so that's that one. And for this one, I did bring up my servo tester so I can make sure. Here we go. This is a servo tester. I'll show it to all the angles. I have a little BEC here to do the nice conversion to 5 volts. I'll use that as my input, make sure it's hooked up the right way. There you can see now. I can plug my servo in, make sure I get them. And did you see what happened there? Let's see. Let's get to neutral. So there's my neutral spot. So you see how I had my arm on before and I thought I was centered? Well, I wasn't. So that's all right, because I'd measured off a centered position. I'll just take that arm off, put it on there as centered, and now I need to make sure I put the screw in to keep that straight. But now that one servo is good, I'll do the same with the other one. I also usually like to give, wow, that blue light is really bright. I don't go through like an extensive test cycle, and I don't tend to test how much weight they can take. You see they're in neutral position. This is also off. And that's closer, but not good. There we go. Perfect. So there, and there, that's the way these two are going to go. I can just to make sure that these are actually working properly and not too jittery and all that kind of stuff. Just let it run for a bit. Not too long. I really like these servos. And there we go. They center nicely. So that's all I need to know, really, is that they're going to center properly. So when I finally do hook the arms up, I usually hook that up, put some power to it so that I'm not sliding them around, just to make sure that I've got everything straight. So at this point, shove that in, and I'm going to do this other one, this other control arm. So let's just start by hooking this on. This is always a good time to wear glasses as well. Eyes aren't what they used to be. Sound like an old man. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. I want to leave myself a little room in both directions. And cut that off about there. I'm cutting it a little bit longer than I thought I needed to. Because obviously you can always shorten the wire, but lengthening it isn't. Lengthening it is not easy. So I've got a little bit too much there. I'll cut off another chunk. And now I'm going to put a Z bend in there. I'm thinking right about here. Let's see how that's going to work. Going on the inside here just because of how I've done this. I just think that's going to give me the straightest line. Look at that again. Look at that again. If I go on that side here, I go on this side here. That over there, that all looks pretty good, and I can have that straight just about that far away, maybe there. That looks pretty good as far as being straight here. I could come as far as that. You see I'm still in the confines of what I've scooped out here for foam. The closer I am up to that wall, the better off I'm going to be, because then I can stick to this wall and stick to the bottom. Do a little dab of glue on either side here. And as for these wires, I'll probably put a little notch here and here for these wires to come through, and try and hug them as close as I can, so you're keep it like that and just come across in there. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now that I'm pretty happy with those, I'm just going to take that out. We need to fasten in the two control horns. Put this off to the side here a little bit. So the choice is hot glue, or you know what might work really well? Let's see how these are holding on. These little pieces of foam I put on with CA. I've got some thicker CA here. Because it's not actually going to be sticking just to the foam, it's going to be sticking more or less to the tape in the bottom piece here and to the foam on the inside. I might be able to get away with doing a little bit of CA here. This is a thicker CA. It's not going to set up until I use the activator. So let's try. Just pull a little bit of that off the end. A bit of it on here, a bit on there. A bit of it on the section that's going to come up through. Like that. And I always end up getting this on my fingers, and I always end up, so push it up so it's most of the way there. I'm going to spray a little bit of the activator. I think I get about 8 seconds after I spray the activator. And what you'll be able to feel if you're actually holding close enough is you'll feel a little bit of heat. And then you'll know that the activator is kicking in and the CA is drying. Now I'm going to put over top of this piece here. You might not get that at that angle, but I'm going to put another piece of packing tape over top so that it can't push down. So if you think about it, this is mostly pull and push, right? And when it pulls, it's not going to pull right up through that slit in the foam, and push, it's not going to be able to push the packing tape off. So this glue, although this glue should be able to hold it, this isn't the only thing holding it. So, and I've learned my lesson with this a bit of the hard way. When I had, if you look at one of my other videos, I have a crash video of what my FPV 44, where the control horn was not glued on properly, and I didn't lose, luckily, total control of the plane, but I lost enough control that I couldn't bring it back home, and I had to do an emergency crash landing, which was fun. But since then I've been a little bit more careful with this. Okay, let's just try some of the activator, get it in there, get it all over, and not take 8 seconds. And as usual, the thing that CA sticks best to, I find, is skin. So I've now got a nice crispy thumb. I'm going to have another one soon. And there you go. See that? Can you make that out? That's nice. There you go. I love crazy glue. So I think I'm just going to put this back up over here. That's good enough. And eventually that stuff will come off my thumbs. So I'm going to turn this over. Goes out. And do one more strip of tape. I almost wish I had slightly thinner tape for this. I had the option when I was ordering it to order 2 different widths, and of course I didn't. I ordered all the wider, the 2-inch tape. So I don't have to go the full width of the wing, but it probably would look better if I do. This is kind of a trade-off between weight, but the worst that's going to happen with me doing the extra, the plane is going to be a tiny bit heavier, which is not really an issue, because you have so much wing area on these planes. Look at how that doesn't stick nicely in around there. I don't like that at all. The main idea is that on either side of this it's going to be stuck on, and it'll make it a little bit harder for that control on a horn to come off. So, I do wish that would stick on a little bit better. But it's going to give a tiny little extra bit of rigidity as well to the control surface. So all in all, that's not a bad thing. It is a little bit ugly. I'll clean that up. I really did lose quite a bit of that when I shaved this aileron off. It's anybody's guess whether this plane's going to actually fly at the end of the day. You just have to trust me there. In some of my other builds, I'm actually a little bit more careful in this. Something about videotaping what you're doing. It throws your game off a little bit. Turn that over. Cut off the excess. No need for you to do this the same way that I'm doing it. You can be as careful as you like. And obviously, it's not important to you how well my... Whoa! Wow, that's not nice. How well my plane's going to fly. What's important to you is how well the one that you make flies. So I have 3 of those over there, 1 here, 1 on the floor. 2 of them are FPV 44s and 3 of them are FPV 30s. They all fly very nicely. So if this one doesn't fly well, it'll be the first. Come on, just go. There we go. Control horns are in. I'll pat this tape down, try and get some of the bubbles out. Those should be in there nice and solid now. They're not, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think they're going to be good. So, we have, just going to hook this back up. This one, I believe on the outside, Interesting. I almost want to do that on the inside, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do them the way that they seem to flow best, and if I have to take out a tiny bit more foam to make it work, so be it. That in there. I could swear I had that hooked up. Get over there. This one in like that. And go through like that. Is that good? What in the world happened there? Let me tell you what happened. That's supposed to be on the outside. Like that. I like it. I'm not sure what happened there, but I think that's correct. I do wish that this was in the other way. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to glue those in place. But at first I'm going to power, like I said before, I'm going to power this up. Just to make sure. Put them in neutral. Now I can just eyeball that. That's good, that's good. Now I take this two-sided carpet tape. And this might seem silly compared to glue, but the beauty of this is if I make a mistake in the short term, I just pull it right back up, try again. So I try and get that nice size like this. Pull that over. So. Fasten it down nicely. Looks like it's hanging over just a minute. Gosh, that's not too bad. Pull off the packing. And for sticking on packing tape, this works really well. For sticking on the raw foam, not quite as good. So, now you'll see the beauty of this. I'm going to hug that side as much as I can. And just put it right straight down. So there we go. That's basically fastened in place. I'll do the same thing with the other one. Could be a tiny bit more accurate with that. Get them nicely stuck on now. I have had it before where the stickers, if you're sticking it on the sticker itself, come off. And I've had to reapply these, but I think we're going to be okay this time because I'm going to use some extra glue. I'm not going to rely on this on a plane that I want to go as fast as I want this one to go. Okay, so make sure we've got that nice. Oh. There you go. So now you see some of the advantages. I made a little bit of a mistake where I was putting it. I want to snug it up against this side here, not that side, because this hat needs room to move. So, I think that's pretty close to what I want. Right there. So, look at it, if you can see here, you see I was a little bit mistaken with both of them. Both of them are a little bit above, which would give me some natural lift on the plane. It's not necessarily what I want. So I'm going to just slide them down before I use any glue. Slide both of those down a little and see if I can correct that the easy way. It's going to make it hard on me. So, lift them both off. Now you see what I'd said before about the sticker? So, this part doesn't come off, but the sticker did. So maybe this is the best thing that could have happened. I'll get rid of this piece of... Oh no! Everybody, all at once, say the same thing. Can't believe it. So this side, probably get the exact same problem. Sticker came off. I'm going to try not to take the packing tape up. I'm not quite sure what to do about that little issue. We're going to try this one more time. The more I can get the mechanical setup correct, the better the thing's going to fly right from the get-go. I'm just going to put both of these pieces on. I'll worry about hooking that up, that arm up before I put it back. There we go. More stuff stuck to my fingers. There we go. Now I don't have any stickers to worry about on the servo. So I can start to concern myself more with whether or not this is going to work. Okay, I'll start with this side. Now, again, I've pulled it closer to me. I want you guys to be able to see this. I'll try not to get my head in the way of the camera. Pull that off. And I'm going to just, this time, I'm just going to duck my head down a little so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. And I think it's going to be straight. That looks pretty good. So I'll deal with this side. I have no problem with doing these twice like this before getting it right. I've had times where I've had these at fixed distances from the control horns, and I have had to do my Z-bend a number of times. I'd rather waste a tiny little bit of this double-sided carpet tape than a whole bunch of pieces of metal. So I think second time might be a charm here. Oh, yeah. Take a look at that. That is sweet. That's pretty straight. I mean, maybe a tiny bit off, but as good as I've had any time in the past. Now we got a problem here that I don't like. You see that? This is just not going to do. I thought I had it, and now this piece of packing tape is being difficult. So, the solution to all of your problems. Packing tape isn't sticking. That's coming up with it. I have two choices. Glue down that piece of packing tape or cut it out. Call me crazy. I'm going to glue it down. No idea if this is going to work or not. I'm going to try squeezing some of this CA in under there. Spread it around a little bit. Get a little bit of the kicker in there. Put it down. Hold it, see if it stays. Now what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to put a thin piece of tape across as well on the top to keep these from moving, but I'm going to have this. I'm going to put some polyurethane glue in here to fill in that crevice. I don't think these are going to go anywhere ultimately, but obviously I want them to be as solid as they can be. Sticking? Ha ha! Look at that! The packing tape CA'd to the foam is sticking. That's good. That's a good deal. Okay, so let's use a little bit of... Oh, hold on. Let's worry about this for a second. How am I going to get this wire across? Seems to me like I could do something like this. Now make sure I'm not going to cut the wire itself. So I'm just going to put a little sliver in there, just big enough. Just big enough. And I'm going to push the wire into it. There we go. Sliver. Do something very similar here on this side. I don't like cutting toward that wire, but I also don't like cutting left-handed. There we go. So I could even tape again over top of that if I wanted to. Keep it as aerodynamic as possible. So let's just give this one more test before we... They look good. They look good. Okay, so now I can disconnect this. Disconnect those servos. That, and always disconnect this battery from the BEC. I've left these connected before, and it does slowly drain your battery, even though there's nothing connected at the other end of the BEC. Next step, another slit, small slits here and here to get those wires in further, because your ESC is going to be here. So, there we go. And let's grab Elmer's Ultimate Glue and the water in there. Normally I do not do this because normally I actually want to be able to remove the ESC. And the reason I'm doing it this time is I want it to be as stable in there as possible. So I'm just put a little glue in there. Now on the front edge of this, well, it's actually the rear edge from the plane, but the wind's going to come over it this way. the force on it isn't going to be able to push it that way because I just filled that in with polyurethane glue, which is going to end up expanding. So if it's going to come out, it'll be this way or that way. A little dab of hot glue here and here would probably solve that problem, and I will do that before I fly it. I'm not going to do it right now because I didn't plug in the hot glue gun, and I don't want to wait. And I know it won't take long, but I've got to find the glue gun and some glue sticks. And I'd like to kind of move forward with the next step here. So next step, from my perspective, is going to be putting the motor on.